Hey there, my name is Pravus, and welcome back to more oxygen not included with the Super Duper Grouper base. In the last video, we did a couple different things. We did get our mushroom farm up and running for a bit of extra food, and our natural gas geyser is active, which means we've been able to pump out about 450 kilograms of natural gas to use for some extra power. So our power needs should be set for at least a good long while. Doubly so because we did spend some time upgrading our electrical infrastructure, using heavy wattage wires to carry the, heavy wattage all across the base, and then transformers to step it down into a smaller wattage that is more easily used by the small machines and will not cause them to overload. So, this is all looking pretty good. If electricity is more or less under control, then the next big thing I probably need to work on is some coolant. I would absolutely love to take care of the slush geyser, start storing this in a way that we can actually make sure we properly insulate some large liquid reservoirs, and then pump those where needed throughout the base in order to either cool the oxygen around in the base, or maybe cool down some of the steam water into something a bit more usable. That kind of a thing. So we're going to go ahead and start focusing on building that up today, and that's going to take a little while to set up, but eventually will be useful. Maybe not this video, but eventually it will be. Another thing I want to correct that I think people will probably have corrected me on already in a video or in a comment section, but I do record in batches, so I'm a little bit late to the party there. These hatches, I was kind of wondering why having like 4 hatches in a maximum ranch was still saying they were overcrowded, because my understanding is you can have about 8 before that's supposed to happen. So I was a little confused, but I just kind of ran with it. But I did some looking on the wiki, and it turns out these eggs apparently count toward that overcrowding limit. Had no idea that was the case. So 4 hatches, 5 eggs, oh no, the 4 that are adults and grown are sad. Yeah, that's how it works. If I remove these eggs, we actually probably didn't need to set up this second ranch over here after all. That said, I'm not sad to have it. Worst come to worst, we'll just go ahead and stock up a ridiculous amount of coal, so that when the natural gas geyser does eventually turn off, and it will after a long while, then we'll have plenty of coal to work with. So what I want to do now is start taking these eggs out of here. Not to eat. I'm going to make sure that that is not allowed, but we do want to make sure that they are set somewhere else. And in fact, we can boost up their growth time if we're willing to research animal control for the incubator. Does take some power, but we actually have a bit of power to spare at the moment, and this could help speed up the growth time, especially for things like these stone hatchling eggs, and get our ranches the way we want them. Also, I want it because, we have a glossy Drecklet egg, finally! So I want to set up a little incubator over here and speed this up. The sooner we have glossy Drecklets laying more eggs, the sooner we can get rid of these creepy goat ones, and I can have lots of plastic production. Now, as for this fertilizer over here, I was gonna hook this sucker up to some polluted water, and then I realized this sucker is supposed to emit natural gas, which is cool and all, but probably not something I want in the main base because it is an irritant to people's eyes. So we actually are probably gonna wanna move this sucker somewhere else. The question to me really is where? Where is convenient to do this? We take polluted water and phosphorite, we make fertilizer to boost up our food production. Great, but where does it go? We could use a water lock and create like a dedicated room just for this and pump out the extra natural gas. It's not a bad idea. It's gonna take a little while, but it's not a bad idea. I think I might actually end up doing that. There we go, we got animal control. Let's also pick up the smart storage. I kind of meant to do this a while ago. Auto sweepers and stuff could be kind of helpful. Maybe the smart storage bins. I don't know, those kinds of things. I like the idea. All right, food, incubator, place. One over there. I don't know, we can't do any more. Dang it, I need refined metal. That's fine, we can turn this thing on now without risking blowing up our circuits. Let's process a heck of a lot more copper. Okay, incubator placed over here. And, ooh. Do I have it? I got a smooth hatch egg? How did that happen? Wait a minute. Wait. Where's my stone hatch? Hello? Smooth? Huh. You weren't supposed to eat anything that could have made this happen. I think I just got a 1% chance of something happening. That's kind of weird. Okay. Well, what you can do with a smooth hatch is you can feed them raw ores and it turns it into refined materials for you. The downside is you lose like half of the material. So let's say 50 kilograms of copper ore becomes 25 kilograms of refined metal. It's nice in the sense that if you have a glut of other ores that you want to turn into refined materials, this doesn't take any power to use, whereas the refinery is, 1, extremely hot, and 2, very energy hungry. So it's an option. I'm not sure I really plan on making use of these, but it feels like a shame to crack the egg, so I guess we'll just leave it there. Anyway, over here, I wanted to place down one of my glossy Drecklet eggs. Let's go ahead and incubate. Well, what do you know? He's a little glossy Drecklet and he's way cuter than the other ones. Excellent. Let's go to this critter drop-off and make sure that people know they're allowed to drop him off over here. It's A-okay with me. And now he shall be released into his new environment. Boom. All right. This is the future, other Dreckos. Tremble in fear. I'm gonna place a new little automatic dispenser over here, by the way. I just feel like it's the right thing to do so I can stop going through here and manually having to turn this thing on and off again. Just let this be the great sweeping dispenser and it keeps dropping everything in one place. Should work the same way, but with no micromanagement from me. Okay, we've got a small little chamber set up now, and I'm gonna be placing down some fertilizer over here, close to where I'm already storing up my natural gas, just because I figure at this point it kind of makes sense. Does that mean that I need to pipe my polluted water a very long way over here? Yeah, it definitely does, but I feel like that's manageable, and honestly, I'd rather just keep all gases close together where they need to be, rather than have a whole separate system and then have to ventilate all the natural gas over here anyway. I mean, the way I see it, we're gonna have to transport something, and it basically costs the same amount. Might as well make it easy to digest. Now, the reason I'm going to turn this into a vacuum is pretty straightforward. It's mostly because I want to be sure that if I have a gas pump in here, it's only going to be pumping out natural gas going forward. Could set up a filter, but then that just costs a lot of extra electricity, and who wants to do that? By the way, how's our germ clearing system going so far? Pretty good. We've reduced the food poisoning germs that were floating around to just a few hundred at this point. And it was a couple thousand before, so this is definitely working. It's just a very slow and unpleasant process. And it's costing me a lot of electricity to keep this sucker running all the time, which I'm really not thrilled about. So for now, we're gonna go ahead and turn this thing off. I don't really see a lot of point in just doing this for now. Let's let the water kind of readjust itself, let the germs figure themselves out. We're kind of pumping like germ-free water anyway. Hey, what's this? Our glossy Drecko has reached adulthood and already been sheared! Plastic, ladies and gentlemen, it's back here. You can barely see it, 150 kilograms of it. Nice. What can you do with plastic? Oh man, I'm glad you asked. So many wonderful things. Plastic ladders come to mind. I mean, I can only build like 3 chains of it, but people ascend ladders faster if they're made out of plastic for some reason. So, yeah, there's that. We could also build like some nice comfy beds, or maybe we could go for some transit tubes if we really wanted to be crazy. Yeah, I don't think I'm worried about that right now. There was a germ sensor I had wanted to place down here in the chlorine room, but the way things are standing now, I don't think I need it. So I think we'll just leave that alone. In the interest of making this a little bit more efficient, I'm gonna be placing down a smart storage bin over here, which sends a green signal when it is full. But that means it would send a red signal when it's not full, so hooking this up from automation directly to the fertilizing machines is simply going to turn them off. I don't like that. So I'm using a not gate, which basically means it's the opposite day. If it's sending a red signal, that means keep working. I want the auto sweeper working, I want the fertilizers working, keep everything happening. And once this thing gets full, which will probably never happen, but if it does, then I want these things to automatically shut off so that we stop wasting a lot of power and polluted water. What this basically means is as long as we have some phosphorite being brought over here, which we're already doing, the auto sweeper ought to take care of the rest of it. Honestly, this should be a pretty much set and forget sort of machine. And I've had to deliberately change up the priorities on these storage filters so we pick up the phosphorite and put it in one convenient place so people can grab their maximum load. But it's a lower priority, so people should offload it and bring it over here, and then the auto sweeper takes care of the rest from there. I don't know, I'm just experimenting a little bit with this automation stuff, trying to be a little bit more efficient. It's probably not worth the amount of effort I'm putting into it, but it feels kind of good, so I'm gonna do it anyway. We're gonna have some issues with water storage, aren't we? We are completely full on our polluted water tank, well, just about anyway. I just turned on the water sieve, but we are also full on our regular water tank. Oh boy. Do I need to make this thing even bigger? I guess I could, why not? So I'm taking a look at our kilocalories right now. We're making a load of calories off of fried mushrooms. Holy cram. Yeah, turns out these mushrooms are worth a fair bit, and we are producing a lot of it. Jeez, dude. Okay, probably should have done this sooner. This was really easy to set up. So what I'm doing over here is I'm setting up a big insulated chamber, of course using the igneous rock, and I'm going to go ahead and start pumping this out into a vacuum. When I start pumping liquid out of this slush geyser, I want this stuff to stay cold for as long as possible, and that means removing all forms of convection by removing all air of any kind. Just a vacuum, so no transfer of energy can take place. So this will stay nice and cold, and then whenever I need it, I can pump out several 100 kilograms of super cold water to whatever contraption I've set up. Could be for air conditioning, could be for the water, could be a number of things. I don't know yet. I just want to have it all in one place. I have completely forgotten to mess with any skill points for a while. Oh, whoopsies. Okay. Bad Burrito, I'm going to go ahead and start making into a doctor as well as several other things, just in case we need somebody who is skilled at that. Alpha, I don't know, more operating skill I guess will be fine on you. Bicel, do we want to do some ranching and stuff? Yeah, let's go ahead and get some extra skill there. Foxy Trot, let's do some super hard digging so someone else is able to do that. J. Johns, I'd also given some doctoring. Not sure I need to do any more there. Let's hold off on that one. Ruby, more carrying makes sense. Shadow, probably some additional strength. And then Viola, let's go ahead and boost up your art skill just a little bit. So you can kind of replace these, well, rather embarrassing crude drawings with something a bit more tasteful. Whoa, why the heck do we have so many extra germs in our water over here? It's probably from the water sieve, isn't it? Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Oh, no, why have I done this? No. Right, okay, yeah, get rid of that sucker. Okay, well, This is a small problem I seem to have created for it myself, but it's okay. This is why we also have chlorine rooms. Normally, I would say we'd want to use some insulated piping to kind of daisy chain these things together, but it really shouldn't matter at this point because if there's a vacuum, there's really not going to be any sort of thermal transfer taking place anyway. So we want to have the output of this go in here, then off in, I don't know, maybe this direction for now. And the same thing with the rest of these should be fine. And then somehow we're going to get the water distributed into these three. We could hook them all up into one giant sequence of 9 tanks, but I'd rather have 3 parallel sets, because then it'd be easier for me to go ahead and just kind of divert each one of these to 3 separate purposes. At least in my head, I think that makes some sense. All right, do we feel content with the piping here? I think I do. Let's go ahead and set up a couple more of these insulated tiles, and that should take care of this entire thing. By the way, if you don't want to do a vacuum, another alternative would actually be to fill this entire room up with chlorine. Whereas hydrogen is a surprisingly thermally reactive gas, I believe in this game that chlorine is the least thermally reactive. In fact, it functions like a almost perfect insulator. So that's another option. Of course, in my opinion, you'd still need to pump this entire area out just to fill it up with chlorine, because who wants to have competing gases? But, you know, do whatever you want to do. All right, so now we should be pumping out some very cold water, 10 kilograms of polluted water per packet at minus 9-something degrees Celsius. So we're going to start emptying this sucker out, really no problem at all. And it's going to get stored up in this furthest possible tank. So what's going to happen here is it's actually going to probably fill this one up first, but it's going to get to this junction, split it up by 50%, then another 50%, and then boom. So we'll have several thousand kilograms of really cold water that's not going to be losing its temperature anytime soon. I mean, we've lost a little bit on the way here. The insulation isn't perfect, but it's pretty darn close to perfect once it gets to this point. Everyone is so occupied with all their other tasks, they're barely spending any time doing the things that I tell them to do right now. We've kind of hit that stage of the game. And with this much extra food, I don't know, maybe it's time to consider opening up another barracks and bringing in some more dupes. Maybe. We'll think about that. Anyway, what I want to try messing with here is some electrolyzers. We've got the water sitting around, doing absolutely nothing. Let's start producing more oxygen. And we'll use hydrogen to power this system so it's more or less self-sufficient with the hydrogen generator. But most importantly, now we have coolant right over here which we can use to then cool off that oxygen before pumping it into the base. Faisal was also getting a little bit stressed, so I decided to go ahead and build up a massage table to go ahead and fix that. I was watching the stress go up. It got like to 69%, and I thought, well, that's not very nice. We need to fix that before Faisal goes on some sort of a rampage. I don't exactly remember what your, like, breaking condition is, but I know it's not good. All right, let's start thinking through how we want to do our electrolyzer setup. There's a lot of different ways to approach it, and some people like to take advantage of some almost exploity natures to the game, which you can halfway submerge some of your electrolyzers in like various different forms of liquids in order to try and force it to never overpressurize. It's a little bit weird. I'm not going to be personally doing that, at least not yet. We might come back to that a little bit later. What instead I'm going to be doing is setting up some basic 3 pumps down here at the bottom, and then 1 pump up here at the top. And the reason I'm doing this, of course, is that hydrogen is a lighter gas than the oxygen. So it is going to rise up to the top, and oxygen is going to sink down to the bottom if we set this up appropriately. So, the result of this being, we are going to have 2 electrolyzers on both sides. We can probably do one here and here, kind of like this. And we're going to have a gas valve and probably some form of a filter in order to try and get the carbon dioxide out of here. And then eventually, once this thing has stabilized, sort this automatically into some hydrogen and oxygen. Now, the thing is, I could make use of an actual filter, or I could try being a little bit manipulative with things like my gas bridges and creating kind of loops of piping in order to create what's called a mechanical filter. And this is, again, a little on the exploity side, though this one's a little bit more clever as opposed to just literally submerging something that shouldn't be submerged in liquid in order to try and force the gases out in one direction. Let's just start by building this up, and we will see how it develops. Okay, so what I've done here is I have set up all of the plumbing that I'm going to need. All right, we've got some water coming down over here after it's been decontaminated and dropped off into the electrolyzers. Then we do have these 3 gas pumps, but these guys have not been seeing any particular use as of late. Right now, we just have this gas pump hooked up to a gas filter, only temporarily. And the idea behind this is it's going to pump up the hydrogen, it's going to pump up the oxygen and the carbon dioxide, but only the hydrogen is going to get sent this direction. And we're going to take advantage of the fact that these bridges can only go in one direction. Plus, we're going to have this gas valve set up for only 1 gram per second. What we're looking to do is fill this area up with hydrogen. Then I'm going to get rid of all of these temporary pipes, set this up as a loop with the gas valve setting only 1 gram per second of flow. And what that does is guarantees that every space in this loop of piping is going to have only hydrogen in it because it's been reserved with 1 tiny gram of hydrogen. It's a little weird. Hopefully it all kind of makes more sense as I go. Honestly, this isn't something I use very often. I'm kind of going through some guides online, reading through some stuff, trying to figure out how to best make this work. But the point is, you're reserving these pipes for a specific gas without the use of a filter. So it doesn't take any power, but it ends up with the same result where your gases are naturally getting sorted in a purely mechanical way. Okay, now assuming I've done this all correctly and the pipe is effectively primed and ready to go, and I know, by the way, these things look backwards and messed up, give it me a minute. Before we close any of this stuff up, I do think we want to run some of the cold water through here. So let's think through some of the piping. We're going to want to use insulated pipes up until we get into this area. Then we want to use radiant liquid pipes. These are the opposite of insulated pipes. They are simply going to be more effective at transferring thermal energy as opposed to insulating against it. That said, I don't feel like copper is the best choice. Gold is a really good material to use for this, so I think we're going to go ahead and set ourselves up a lot of gold. High thermal conductivity. That's what we're looking for. So while Alpha and other team members continue to punch out that gold, now let's start thinking through the piping. Gotta be careful though, because we obviously don't want to interfere with the rest of this, but what I want to do is effectively treat this like a radiator. So something like Ooh, this isn't going to be quite perfect, is it? But something like this, then maybe a liquid bridge that goes across here, followed by... Oop, we're using up our copper by accident. Something like this. And then have it go back into the group. Something like this. Then hop right back in here. Maybe. I mean, it kind of depends. I don't know how much energy we're realistically going to get out of this. We're going to be warming up these tanks, so we may very well decide we don't want to dump this back in here. But for now, I think this is going to be sort of okay. So let's try building this out. Okay, so everything should be set and ready to be connected. We're not going to do that yet still, though, because there's a little bit more I want to do. So first off, I have no idea, realistically speaking, how effective these pipes are going to be at cooling down the oxygen. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. But I do know that with the hydrogen, I want to start powering this thing. So we're going to go for a hydrogen generator and place this sucker. I would have done it right up over here, but maybe we can't do that. We could do it over here instead, I suppose. I had a transformer for a temporary measure, but maybe we just go ahead and place this. Yeah, all right, fine. Okay, here we go. So we're going to place this hydrogen generator really close by, and we are going to ventilate. I've broken it for now just so we don't accidentally break anything important here, but the hydrogen goes down, it goes into the hydrogen generator, and then boom. We find ourselves providing some power. Once this system is up and running and fully self-sufficient, I might disconnect this from the grid, or if I find that it's actually making excess, I might just reconnect it and enjoy a little bit of extra free power. But for now, we'll use the transformer just to get this whole thing kick-started until we've got enough consistent hydrogen coming through that this sucker is ready to go. All right, so there's all of that. Now we also need to decide where our oxygen is actually going to go. Well, let's think about that for a brief moment here. So we probably want to have... Where's the temperature the worst, actually? It's actually pretty bad in a lot of places. Our temperature in the base has really started to increase. We probably should have a vent that is dropping off colder air over here, and then maybe another one off in this direction, kind of closest to the center. Yeah, I think between these two, that's roughly what I want to do. So let's try placing down a vent over, I guess, in the middle of the room over here, and then one in the living quarters, probably off in this direction. Yeah. We're gonna insulate these pipes as much as we can so that the cool air stays cool until it gets to its destination. Is that it? Is that everything here? All right, let's do one more check. So for plumbing, got the cold water coming through, blah, blah, blah. It is indeed, by the way, rising in temperature right now, but we can see it has chilled this room a lot. So there's no doubt in my mind that we are absorbing lots of thermal energy into these radiant pipes. So those are working. No doubt about it. Let's see. So we just need to reconnect this, and that will get this flowing pretty much non-stop, I'm hoping. Then as far as ventilation, we have this doing its loop. We're going to hook this sucker up to get the hydrogen out over here. Oxygen as produced is going to go down to the bottom or get captured by this gas pipe and then sent up here. And then these have insulation. Whoop, wait a minute. Aha, hold on. This would have been a problem. We need to go ahead and break this. Because obviously, I'm not looking to hook these things up into a four-way intersection. That would just be confusing. Okay, now they're going the right direction. And then we have an output there, and then we have an output over there. Okay. So now it's just going to come down to, will the cooling be enough? I hope, maybe? I don't know. Let's see. All right. Gas pipe. Hook this sucker up. Okay, so now some of the hydrogen is going to start going down this direction. And let's go to our power and hook this back up. Everything should start turning on. Okay, so let's keep an eye on that ventilation. That's a lot of carbon dioxide that's going to get pumped out over here, but that's fine. This is a fully sealed system. Once the carbon dioxide's been dealt with, it's going to be nothing but oxygen and oxygen and hydrogen eventually. So this is okay. We'll let this do its thing. In the meantime, some oxygen's getting out. I'm watching the hydrogen. You notice, by the way, the hydrogen only has gone one way so far. All right, the hydrogen is working exactly as intended. It is only going in one direction. Now, here's the next question. Ventilation, temperature. 26.3 degrees? No. I'm sorry, hold on. No. Wait a minute. Insulated gas pipe, even better. 12.5 degrees. This is freaking frigid air. Holy crud, hold on. This is really, really cold air. Of course, we actually have way too much gas pressure over here. I need to disable these because we should not be adding any more onto this. I do need to enable this so we can fill up the rest of the oxygen over here. But mostly, I just need these things all off so that we can actually continue putting things out in the vent. Right, because right now we're getting kind of stuck here. Just overpressured, vents aren't going to be doing what we want them to do. Now, I could set up some high-pressure vents and try to force it all through, but then we're going to create a super high-pressure zone and create some ear-popping things for our dupes. And that's not exactly great now, is it? Now, what are we looking at as far as temperature going back into... Oh, wait, I never did. I haven't even hooked this thing up, and it's already absorbing that much. Holy cram, it's going to get better. Right, hang on. Insulated pipe, yoinkus. There, we don't want to actually redo that. There we go. Okay, now the water's going to flow again. Okay, so the water's going to start going through here, which means cold water is once again entering into the system. This might be too effective. I'm not even kidding. This might actually be too freaking effective. Well, let's see what happens. Really cold water still going to be sticking into the system. It's distributing back into everything. So the oxygen, by the time that we are done with all of this, right, it's got to reset the cycle a little bit. But the hydrogen is working as intended. I don't know that this is actually as self-sufficient as I want it to be. I may want to hook up a battery and just see if we actually are gaining anything. Okay, I don't know why we're getting a couple little packets of hydrogen that somehow get through this, but I'm not going to micromanage it too much. It's clearly working 99% of the time. And oh my god, the temperature is below freezing. It's that stinking cold. Wow. All right. That's not a huge deal, only because it'll even out as it gets throughout the base. But we need to keep an eye on this, because if anything, we might have overdone it, and this is working unbelievably freaking well. Heck yeah, man. All right, I am really tired. It's been a long recording session for me, so thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If so, it has to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.